Anyways, I have this deal right now that we're working on. The guy bought it for $775,000. He bought it in let's say about 10 years ago. It's a six-family property. Okay, it's a little small property. Probably gonna have like 15 grand or if that, maybe 10 here. Not a lot of money for due diligence, legal, civil. 10 grand there, closing costs maybe 50. I mean, I'm being overzealous a little bit. So he brought, this is what they bought it for. Let me go to the income details real quick. We'll change up a couple things. It is just, I believe, let's get rid of this. I think it's all one bedroom. So we're going to put a six here and we're going to do that. And let's get rid of this. It's about right. I think it's like 1350 a unit, roughly. So, anyways, gross income for the year, I mean, you could probably put a 10% vacancy factor here. So this deal, let me just do that. And we can say that every year, this is, by the way, a rent stabilized building. Okay. So this is an exact lead that we got, rent stabilized. And let's see here. So the performer rents are probably like 1450, but they're all stable. It's rent stabilized. So not really anything we can do here. Right. So 1450. It's rented for 1350. We're probably going to be able to get there over the next, let's say, 4 to 16 quarters. Okay, so it's just going to slowly, gradually go up from there over time. And I'd even say, let's do 1% here. Anyways, so very, very low, obviously, gradual growth on that. Let's go to expenses here. I believe this is just a 35% expense ratio, which we're not going to do. Okay, he said that it was like 18,000 for taxes. Let's say another $5,000 for insurance. We also have, second here, I have all the details here. So I just want to give you guys a quick example. Let's get the rest of the information right here. Okay. So he said, actually, let's do 6,000 for insurance. He also said heat was $5,000. He said that electric was $1,200. It doesn't have anything else for water. I guess they pay their own water, but I'm going to put something here. Let's just say 6 G's a year. 6 units, let's see. Each one are 100 bucks a month for water. I mean, that's incredibly expensive. Let's even do 75. Let's do $75 times 6 units times 12. Okay, yeah, okay, that's about right. Very, very minimal snow removal. There's also no landscape whatsoever.
The one in Cali.
Snow removal, it's in New York. There's just sidewalks. So there is no landscaping. Snow removal, we'll say 1,200 bucks. It's literally just the sidewalk. So it's nothing major. Repairs and maintenance, we'll say $6,000 for the year. Trash removal, we'll say another like 2,400 bucks a year. Rentals, we can probably do it for pretty cheap. Payroll, we'll say 600 bucks. We'll say admin, $600. Reserves, we'll say 1,200. We'll do 1,200 for all of them. So we have a lot of expenses, guys. Like, again, this is not a cheap deal, right? Like this is not a cheap, this is a six-family deal and you still have to budget for some of these things to make sure you're actually taking care of some of the stuff. Fine, we can do maybe 600 and 600. Repairs and maintenance is definite. Maybe we get away for 1,200 bucks. These you can't change, those you can't change. Management fee, maybe we can get them down to, I don't know. I mean, this is pretty much where we're going to be. Maybe
Quick question.
4%.
Yeah, sorry. Quick question. When you figure out the tax, are you figuring out the tax, the present tax, or the tax that is going to be paid, let's say, next year?
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to call the township, I would always recommend calling the township, especially if you see that the assessment currently is very low. I highly recommend you call the township. Almost 100% of the time, I would definitely call the township. However, if you see that the tax assessment, like, let me see, I'm pulling it up right now. Tax assessment on this deal actually has the tax bill link. That's pretty interesting. So in 2019, it was assessed for 870, but now it's assessed for 515. I don't know how it went down drastically, but the taxes have gone up. That's New York for you. The assessment has gone down, and yet the taxes have gone up. But yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I would definitely call the township and see if it was assessed on sale and figure out the percentage ratios. I guess. Yeah, actually, what happened was that the applied tax rate was 12.5% in 2019, and now it's down to 7.6%. So they dropped down the assessed value. So, anyways, here we go. This is the underwriting right here. So, without really doing much, I took, the guy was saying that he's generating $95,000 a year, and I just did times 0.6, right? So you have 50, I did 0.6, right? Which is about $40,000 in expenses, which obviously clearly is not a lot. I mean, not enough here. I mean, we can try to, cut down some costs here, but it's not going to be likely across the board. I mean, like, I don't know where you feel like we're going to cut any costs, but I took a 40% expense ratio. And it's, again, maybe I can say that I'm the manager, and take a 0 here, maybe, right? Like, but overall, it's like you're probably going to be around there. Let's see here. Let's go back to summary. This is saying that in 20 quarters, the building is only going to be worth 547 at a 7.5 cap. Now, look, it is in one of the nicer boroughs. It's in Queens. So overall, I think we could probably end up selling this for probably a 6% cap rate, maybe even a 5. Long story short, we might even be able to get a 5 just because it's Queens. I know that we're probably going to be able to do pretty well here. And we can also say that if we're going to hold it for this long, we can also, because I'm going to show you what I'm thinking in a second. Let's do 4-20, and then let's also say that we're going to increase by, I think you can do, let's see here, right? We're going to Google it real quick, guys. Let's say Queens rent control limits. So rent stabilized apartments is limited to 2.75% for 1-year leases and 5.25% for 2-year leases. Okay, so not one. We're going to do 2.75%. Makes me really freaking excited because it's cheap as hell. Great. So thrilled. Amazing. Love rent stabilized. Anyways, here you go. So at a 5 cap, we're going to see in a few years that we're going to be able to bring it up to 45,000 from what it is right now. We're buying it at a 6.32 cap. To be honest, this is what I think. I think that we're going to flip it right away. So let's see what 4 quarters puts us at. And I made an offer of 550. By the way, my starter offer was 550. And I think I'm just going to wholesale it. Okay. I think I'm just going to wholesale it. Or I might keep it. I'm not sure yet, right? Let's put this to 75% and 7. That's probably about right. Maybe it's 7.5. I mean, I don't know, whatever we want to be conservative, maybe 7. Anyways, this is probably where we're going to be. I have to come to the table with 197. Actually, yeah, closing costs are probably going to be like maybe 30, maybe less. I might be able to get away with a smidge less. Anyways, I'm going to come to the table with $177,000 or so. My internal rate of return on this deal, if I were to flip it in a year, is over 100%, right? So I made him an offer of 550. I'm going to do this, right? If I go to 20 quarters, it's not actually a horrible deal. I'm buying it at a day one, almost 9% cap rate. My stabilized yield actually kind of sucks, to be honest. My cash on cash year one sucks. So this is why I'm thinking about just flipping it, right? I'm thinking about that I'm just going to literally, either I'll close on it at 550, or I will just try to wholesale it. But this is just to give you a reference. Like, look, I made him a starter offer. The agent who made the offer thought that this was never going to get accepted in a million years. We offered him 550. He bought it for 775, mind you. Just bought it 10 years ago for 775. Now the guy is open and willing to take it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to take this deal down, and I'm going to try to wholesale it day one, right? So if I wholesaled it immediately, let's just say I'm going to try to sell it for 800. I'm going to try to sell it at 800. Let's try to do this at a 6.5 cap. Yeah, not so much. Maybe a 6. What's a 6? It's not enough. I'm trying to sell this thing for like 750. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's a 6 family, and I'm getting it for less than $100,000 a door in Queens. I mean, that's just a fucking steal. So overall, we're pretty happy about it. But this just goes to show, like, look, a lot of sellers might get upset, and then you're going to have these random sellers and be like, yeah, draft it up, let's go. And like, it's funny because like now I'm upset because I'm like, why didn't you offer freaking 500,000, right? I told him like somewhere between 500 and 550 had come in, and he obviously offered the higher point of what I said. Now he's going to take it. So anyways, the agent will make 6 points on it, and I'm going to try to wholesale it. That's the game plan. So this is exactly what can happen when again, this is just a quick underwriting here, but this is when you find a deal. I highly recommend plugging in your numbers, get an understanding of where you need to come in at. Check where your IRRs are, check where your purchase cap rate is, your stabilized yield, your equity multiples. Because if you held this thing for freaking 20 quarters at a 6 cap, it's not wonderful, right? It's not even worth what the guy paid for it. But again, this will guide you to give you the best offers possible to make sure you can't lose money. Now, look, you probably could have came in at 400,000. That would have probably been a great deal, honestly. I'm going to try to renegotiate with him in the middle of once we complete due diligence. I'm going to try to come down and whack him for like $50,000 to $100,000 minimum. So we'll see what ends up happening. But this is just to go, give you a quick understanding of some of the deals we're doing now. So